Hello and welcome to a session I'm calling Yoga Creative Flow. You will need a mat, some yoga blocks, a towel, a pillow, and perhaps a glass of water. Standing on your mat in mountain pose, we are going to inhale and stretch the arms up to the sky nice and high, palms together, looking up, breathing in. Let's fold over those legs into a forward bend, holding here and shaking out the head, nodding the head. And bending one knee and then the other. Perhaps hands are propped up on those yoga blocks or resting on the floor. Bend the knees and slowly roll up to standing. Inhale, stretch up tall to the sky, looking high, and exhale, hands to heart center. Let's push those palms forward and out to a T shape, floating heels, floating arms up as heels drop, look up, stretch back before folding over the legs. Inhale, flat spine, come halfway up. Exhale, fold into the legs. Bending one knee, then the other. Take one leg, step it back into a lunge. Collarbone forward. And straighten both legs and then bend the front knee. Inhale, straighten, and exhale, lunge into that front leg. Inhale, straighten, and lunge. Hold the lunge and open up towards that front knee, reaching the arm to the sky. And let's continue the bend and stretch of the front leg, straightening as we reach that top arm overhead and bending as the arm reaches to the sky. Find that coordination and breath. Return both hands down and find your plank pose. Switching other foot forward into that lunge. Let's straighten the legs and bend into that front knee. Inhale, hips high and straighten, and exhale, bend the front knee and lift the chest, looking forward. Let's hold the bent knee as we twist towards that front leg, reaching up to the sky. Straighten the front leg and extend that arm overhead, and then bend into the front knee as arm reaches up. Continue a few more times. Both hands to the blocks, and bring both feet to the top of the mat. Forward bend, reach opposite elbows and sway side to side. Relax the neck, release the shoulders, breathe into the hips and back. And slowly roll up the legs, coming into standing. Rolling shoulders up, back, around, and down. Bring feet together, drop tailbone. Stretching one arm up and overhead, looking up. Bring that arm a little bit behind the face and ear, looking down and looking up. Hand behind the head, press the head into the hand, opening up space, folding that bottom arm across the low back. Breathe in. Switch sides, reaching up and over, looking up, long fingertips. Hand behind the head now. Breathe into the ribs, into the side body. Folding bottom arm across the low back. And return to center. Inhale, reaching up, looking high, folding forward over the legs. Hands on shins. Let's inhale, lengthen the spine halfway up. Exhale, fold into the legs. Hands on blocks. Take one step back into that lunge. Coming up higher. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky, looking high. Bend into that front knee and press back into that back heel. Find a bit of a back bend and slowly control the arms lowering down. Step halfway back on your mat into modified side plank. Bringing foot on top of the bottom leg, pressing heel into inner thigh, looking down or up. Bring that foot behind you now as we open up into Wild Thing pose. Looking at that reaching arm. Slowly looking down. And move into a plank with that bent knee hovering underneath you. Place it down on the mat as we move into pigeon. Inhale, hands press down to lift heart up. Looking to the sky, open up the throat. Bring one arm up and stretch it nice and long as the other hand folds across your low back. So that nice long line of energy from that extended leg behind you and that reaching arm on the same side overhead. Let's bring that reaching arm to cross in front of the chest, stretching through back of shoulder as we rest the forehead down. Bring both elbows to the mat. And rotate to a seated position, one leg straight, opposite knee stays bent, and let's stretch over that extended leg. Foot flexed, side body stretch. That reaching arm is going to cross in front. You're hugging it in nice and close as we circle the wrist. Shoulders down. Drop down to that elbow as we pull the top leg back, heel to glute, quadriceps stretch. Place that bent knee down so the foot is behind you. And let's lift up and stretch away, looking to the sky. Top hand behind the head now. Openness through the side body and ribs. Extend the arm. Let it drop back and behind you as you slowly lower it down. Bringing that back leg to cross on top of the bottom leg. Log stacking pose, feet flexed. You might want to sit up on top of a pillow here if your hip flexors feel tight. Let's interlace fingers, press palms to the sky, looking up nice and high as we inhale. And exhale, folding over those legs. Take your time. I'm using a yoga block just to bring my floor, my ground, a little closer to my forehead so I can make that connection and let the head and neck relax, release. Shoulders, let them go. Slowly rolling up. Let's switch sides. And extend the arms, lifting high to the ceiling. Interlace fingers, turn palms up. And folding over the legs. Let the head drop. Use a yoga block if you like. Breathe into the back, down the spine towards the sacrum. Bring the hands closer together. Slowly rolling up. Drop down onto that elbow now. Pull the leg back behind you for the quadriceps stretch. Reach the knee long away from the hip. And then placing that leg down so the foot is behind you, opposite hand presses to the mat as we lift those hips and reach up and overhead, looking up, breathing in. Slow motion, let that arm circle open. And bring it back down again. Extend the leg out to the side as we set up for our seated side bend. Stretching up and over that extended leg, foot flexed. Breathe into the side body, top hand moves to the back of the head. Lean back a little bit more and slowly coming up and out of it. Crossing that top arm in front of the chest. Let's circle the wrist. Rotate into our pigeon pose. Pressing hands down to lift the chest up, the crown of the head to the sky. Breathe in here into the front of the hips. The same leg that is stretching back, that same side arm is going to reach long and forward, creating that long line of energy. Rest the head down. Keep breathing. Inhale, let's slowly walk the hands back to the mat and stretch out with that forward reaching arm to cross in front of the chest as we use the weight of our body to gently generate a stretch through the back of the shoulder. Inhale, come up and out of it. Pressing hands down, we'll come into that plank with that bent knee floating underneath. And then open it up into Wild Thing, stretching exuberantly overhead. Let the spine extend, let the head drop. Slowly circling that arm open. And move into side plank here. Top heel to bottom inner thigh. Lift the hips high, looking down or up. Balance and breathe. Stay calm and focused. And let's step that foot forward into the lunge. Bring hands up. Square hips. Inhale, let's float arms up. Palms in, front knee bends, back heel presses. Lowering it down. Come into forward bend over the legs. Bending knees to slowly roll up to standing. Up and folding over the legs, forward bend. Release the head and neck, coming up a little higher with the heart, with the chest. Then plant the palms down to the mat and step back into plank pose. Shoulders on top of the wrists. Let's lower down through chaturanga into upward dog. Shrugging the knees above the ground, looking from side to side, and then tuck toes and come up into downward dog. Using the blocks for this next transition, hands on top of the blocks and hips high, pop the heels high, doing a little bending and extending. I'm going to attempt a little jump through into seated. Not bad at all. Shoulders on top of the hips. Flex the feet as you inhale, reach to the sky, fold over those legs. Lift the chest towards the toes. Take your time, every exhale folding a little deeper. I love to use a block just at the soles of the feet so that my feet can be pressing down evenly from big toe to baby toe. And letting the head drop, letting the spine round. Breathing into those hamstrings. Inhale, coming up. Press the palms down to the ground right beside the hips. Hold staff pose for a moment. And then walk the hands behind you, fingertips forward, point the toes, bend the elbows, and then lift the chest, the hips, point the toes to reach down to the mat. Let the head drop back, or just looking forward if you prefer, into reverse plank pose. Lower the hips, extend the legs into boat pose. Legs squeeze together, toes point, reach the arms, tighten the tummy. Slowly, with control, lower down through the spine, through the legs. Take your time. And on your back now, finally on the mat. Let's reach the arms overhead, extend the legs, using one block underneath the sacrum for supported bridge pose. Interlace the arms underneath you, squeeze shoulder blades together, walk the heels back closer to the body. Maybe you can find, touch, hold those heels with your hands or fingertips. Lifting one leg up to the sky. Straight and strong leg. We'll flex and point the foot. And switch leg number 2. Lift it high. Flex and point. Lower it down. Dropping the block, the level of the block a little lower now. Bringing both knees into the chest. Hugging knees in and out. Place the feet down. Let's move the block. And open the arms into a T shape, dropping legs over to one side into this supported, restorative twist. Just cooling down. Winding down in body and mind. Let the breath be a little deeper, a little longer. Evening out the inhales to the length of the exhales. Taking it over to the other side. Looking away from the legs, just let them relax and drop into the ground. Reaching that arm exuberantly away. Come back to the center. And setting up for Shavasana, our final resting pose. Let the legs flop out to the side. Bring the arms by the side, palms up. And just let the eyes close. Try to find a state of comfort where you can be still for 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 minutes. Relax the face. Breathe in, and as you exhale, relax the body. Make the breath effortless, natural, free, fluid. Let the thoughts float by without engaging. Continue to rest into this deeper relaxation. And slowly wiggling fingers and toes as take that stretch, arms overhead. Palms together, we'll warm up the palms, rubbing hands. Bring it down into heart center, breathe it in. And gentle twists of the legs side to side. Hug those knees in and rock it out side to side. And rolling through the spine. Coming up into seated position. Legs crossed, hands to heart center. Final little moment of peace, joy, and gratitude. Thank you very much for joining me on this yoga adventure. Until next time.